There's something that I truly like about talking to a camera because there's just a level of honesty that you have to present and you can't fake it. And with that being said, I want to talk about happiness. It's a very complicated and subjective characteristic that we all have. When I was going through depression, I was trying to find any and every sort of avenue to be happy, to feel better about being alive. And it was tough because during that time, you just feel like you're drowning every single day that you're up, breathing, and alert, aware, processing your feelings. Once I came out of depression, I started analyzing what is happiness? What is it that makes us happy? And I started approaching it in a way that makes sense to me. And I looked at it, and there were things that I had to sort of stop or give up in order to feel better about myself. And these are the 12 things that I gave up or stopped doing in order to feel happy. I stopped setting limits on my happiness. And that came in the form of searching for the right career, trying to find inspiration in everything, going after my passion, thinking that just because I have X amount of money in my bank account, I'm going to feel good about myself, or because I'm dating such and such, I'm going to be better and my happiness is going to go through the roof. And there's something called reality and expectation. The reality is that once you go through a process in life, you gain experience. In your mind, your expectation is that it's all going to go good. Life does not work like that. And when I started looking and analyzing my happiness and the limits that I started putting on it, it started making sense. And I just cut all of that out. Two, I stopped seeking approval. I stopped trying to justify anything through somebody's approval of what I was doing. If you look at people, 9 times out of 10, you do have a support system. You do have friends that want more for you, that want better for you. But on the inverse of that, there are people that want you to fail. There are people that want you to be unsuccessful. And just you not hitting your marks makes some people happy. And when you move without justification, without reason, there's this sense of freedom that is so genuine and sublime that nobody can take from you once you reach that level of not seeking approval. Three, I truly had to stop blaming other people for what was happening to me. And this was very tough because there's a point, because of the years that you invest with certain people, that you expect them to be there for you. And the fact of the matter is that it is not their job to be there for you. It is not their job to support you through certain endeavors and certain hardships in your life. It's your job to understand that when something goes right or wrong, you have to find a great solution for it. We all want to be happy. We all want to have success. We all want to be positive and grateful for what's happening to us. But on the inverse of that, when we go through hardships, blaming other people for what's happening is not the answer. Of course, there are going to be people that do you wrong. There are going to be people that cut corners. There are going to be people that are just right down bad for you. But it's not your job to place the blame on them and sit here with the hopes of, well, I blame them. They're going to understand that I just blamed them and they're going to do right. The fact of the matter is that they're not. And you have to sort of understand this, that once you stop blaming people and you start taking charge and ownership of what's going on and you start finding solution to all of your problems, that's when things change in your life. That's when you find like the correct answers and the correct route for your life. If somebody hurts you, The best thing that you can do is understand why they hurt you, how you're hurting, and let go. Try to understand that yes, it's going to be an emotional roller coaster that you have to go through. But within those moments of despair, those moments of hurt, those moments of loss, understand what's on the other side. A better version of you, because of this experience or experiences that you're going through, is waiting for you. And that's worth fighting for instead of blaming people for what's going on within your life. I've always wanted to be a composer, and this is number 4. There is no such thing as the right time. Do not wait for it. Don't spend your whole entire time and life on this earth seeking the right time. There is no such thing as the right moment. If you stop looking and analyzing for the right moment and just do, your whole entire life will change in the course of how disciplined you are. How focused can you remain on one single task until you achieve it? Don't wait for the right time. There is no such thing as the right time. And if anybody tells you otherwise, don't listen to them. There is no such thing as the right moment, the right time. This is number 5. As a man, I stopped trying to be in control of everything that was going on around me. And I don't think that's a healthy thing, to control every single thing that occurs. Because processing life and understanding certain situations and not trying to control the outcome of those situations is helpful. There is magic within those moments. And trying to be this authoritarian over things is just stupid. Limits you. It limits your relationship with other people, because they're going to know you as, if something happens, such and such is going to try to take control over it. Learn to let go of controlling things. That brought so much clarity to me when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let life happen, because at the end of the day, we don't control the world. We don't control the universe. Even religion. There's a limit. There's a very limited factor in religion. I'm not going to talk about religion because, again, that's very personal. It's very subjective, and that is a slippery slope that I do not want any problems with. At the end of 2015, I quit my job. I sold my car, and I moved to New York City. I understood when I got accepted to Columbia University that I had to make some very serious choices. Either I go and I embrace fear, or I stay in this safe box, which was my career, having a car, having financial security, and not experience New York City, Columbia, and everything that the world had to offer to me that year. And what I decided to do was to give up fear. We fear the unknown. Why? And that's an oxymoron. We have a fear of fear. I don't understand why. Don't get me wrong. There are serious ramifications if you leave your job, if you walk away from your family. There are serious things that do occur. But if you're trying to elevate yourself, there are things that you just got to give up. And your fear of fear is stopping you right dead in your tracks. I gave up fear because I understood that the world in that moment in 2015 required that from me. Number 7 is very personal to me, and this is purely subjective. But I gave up attachment. Attachment to materialism and attachment to people. Within that, I learned this. To love is to understand and appreciate loss. And embracing attachment, you also are embracing insecurity. And what I mean by this is very simple. This is my whole entire philosophy with life. If you love a family member, a pet, a spouse, a partner, whoever you love, you have to understand that one day they're not going to be here. That's just the natural cycle of life. Great people, bad people come and go. And within those specific losses, you have to appreciate the time that you had with them. That's all that you can do. With attachment, For me, this is what it means. And again, this is very subjective. But when you are so attached to a person or an object and you don't want to lose it, there's a form of insecurity that starts building, specifically with relationships. If you find yourself too attached to somebody and you cannot see them like out of your life, and you cannot process that one day they're going to be out of your life, whether they leave or through death, that's just not a healthy relationship. And again, I found myself understanding this when I went through severe losses of great people that I cared for. And within those moments, where you have to sort of understand is that at least you have these memories that you can still relive. And there's nothing wrong with that. But understanding love and loss is something that empowers you, and it lets you embrace those moments when you're together, when you're with those people or that person or that pet, or you have this nice car that you worked so hard for. I learned to give up attachment. Number 8, and I know this will be extremely hard for some people to process, but this is the actual truth. I have a very hard time judging and criticizing people without knowing them exactly, like knowing them person to person. Because for me, intellectually, that's just too lazy and is way too easy. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, because when you know somebody for who they are without the preconceptions, that's when you can make an actual judgment and case study for the person that you want to criticize. And without knowing, without understanding, criticism and judgment have no form of accountability. And again, I, as an intellectual person, find it way too easy to criticize and judge others. Number 9, and this is a true story. I gave up comparing and contrasting my life with that of others. Personal story here. My brother, he's younger than me. He's 30 years old, about to be 31. He has a house. He has a very nice car. He has a stable career. And at no point in time have I ever said to myself, man, why he got that house? Why he's driving that car? Or why he's in that career? And if there's one person that I should be jealous of, if there's one person that I should be criticizing myself and comparing myself with, is my brother, my younger brother. And when you understand that there's no benefit of you comparing and contrasting your life with that of others, there's something so liberating about that. And you're on this path to be a better version of who you were. And that's empowering. When you're not concerned about what anybody else is doing but you. When you're not concerned about anybody else's actions but yours. That's what I did with number 9. I gave up comparing and contrasting my life. This is number 10. Stop talking down to you. Stop criticizing you. Stop swimming in your doubts and give yourself a chance. Don't judge something without following through. Example, if you want to be fit, if you're not doing it every single day, there's no hope for you. Don't criticize, don't talk down to yourself that first day when you get started, because you're going to be out of shape. You're going to be tired. Everything's going to hurt. And for you to say like, man, I was faster, I was stronger. That self-doubt, that talking down to yourself brings no benefit. It's literally stopping you right dead in your tracks. What's the point? I had to stop doing that. And I found this clarity with happiness once I started not caring about anything. Once I just told myself, you know what? I'm going to do it. If people judge me, it is what it is. I'm going to go through with something regardless of what happens. Whether it comes out right or wrong, perfection is not the cue here. And that should be your goal. Perfection should never be the aim. Consistency should. And when you stop talking down to yourself, I'm telling you, your self-appreciation goes like this. I read a lot, way too much, and I love that about me. But one thing that I had to sort of do was to stop thinking to myself that I knew enough about the world. And this is number 11. The main reason that I read so much is because the more you read on any topic, on any issue, the further you go down this rabbit hole of not knowing enough. And no matter who you are, you will never experience the full scope of life. You cannot experience the full scope of life. The very last one, number 12, I stopped trying to be right. When you are around people and you're not trying to be that person who knows and has all of these answers to all of these things, things change. And you appreciate your wrongness. And there's an understanding that some of us, we do want to help. But trying to be right all of the time creates this sort of image that you think you're a know-it-all. And I learned so much from just shutting up, listening to other people, not interjecting with things that I thought were better or these unsolicited pieces of advice. When you stop trying to be right, you get it right. And this is one of the main things that I see in relationships. If you are in a relationship, this is my advice to you. When you argue with your partner, the purpose of arguing in a relationship is not to be right. It is to get it right. And that's the same thing with life. The purpose of life is not to be right all of the time. It is to get it right, no matter who you are. When you unlock that power of getting it right versus trying to be right, trust me, your whole entire life will change forever.